What's up? Welcome back to another video. Bitcoin is looking exceptional today, and today may be the day where the bull market resumes. It's kind of like what we've been talking about for the last few days, and so far we're finally seeing that play out. So today I'm going to give you both the long-term entry if you're looking at getting into Bitcoin or Ethereum or any of the other altcoins. I'm also going to get into the intraday opportunities. So yeah, without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Before I get into it, just want to talk about the trade that we had yesterday. As mentioned in the video yesterday, like as of the time that I was recording it, I didn't have enough information to make a valid call, and I did not want to do the irresponsible thing and just said something and at your jeopardy basically. So I told you guys to follow me on Twitter, where I will be calling the trade live as it happens. And to those of you who are following me on Twitter, congratulations, because I can see all of the profits that you guys took, and that was very solid. If you guys would like to follow along with the live trading, also get access to any of the thoughts that I may be having, feel free to follow me on Twitter at _the_art_of_crypto. On days where I'm not able to make a call at that exact time, I'm going to be doing some live trading on there. So yeah, besides that, yesterday also marked the 100th trade out of the last 125 calls that I made here on YouTube. Aside from the amazing win rate, I'm just super happy that I've been doing this consistently for a long time now, and the results have spoken for itself. So big up to all of you guys as well for staying along the journey. And I just wanted to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for sticking around the journey. In case you didn't know already, like I read every single comment in every single video. I respond to every single person. And I've seen that, there is a solid like 20, 30, maybe 40 of you that just consistently show up in every video. Just understand that. Truly thankful, and I really hope that you found value from this. But outside of that, let's get into the video for today. So, well, just starting things off on the weekly chart, we were already anticipating some kind of a bounce out of this bullish order block right here. And I just didn't know if it will happen last week. Last week I thought would go up. I didn't know if it will happen this week. So far, it seems like price is going up, but it could also just fall back down just the same. But next week, we may start going higher. The point being is not to narrow down the timing here, but rather just understanding that higher time frame, we are in some kind of bullish area. And if you're a swing trader, if you're a long-term trader, if you are looking to just buy the dip, this would be an exceptional area to do it from. I've been talking about this level for 2 weeks now, and if you actually bought into this level, yeah, you'd be up quite a decent margin right now. Maybe not in Bitcoin, but definitely if you applied this onto altcoins. Speaking about altcoins, I've gotten so many comments from all of you guys saying that you want to see Ethereum. So we're going to touch on Ethereum in just a little bit, but just understand that the nature of higher time frame levels means that they do take higher time frames to play out. Like if something's happening on, let's say, the 5-minute chart, you could expect that move to be completed within usually a couple of hours. But in this case, we're looking at the weekly chart, and so if you kind of extrapolate that, it wouldn't be surprising if, even though you are in some kind of higher time frame level, it may take 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks before price actually bounces from that level. And that's perfectly normal. You just need to have conviction in your higher time frame analysis, which I've actually filmed a video on, like how to not get confused by lower time frame noise and how to use the higher time frame properly. I'm going to be posting that video tomorrow, so subscribe, turn on the bell notification if you want to be notified when that video drops. But outside of that, just understand, again, higher time frame, nothing has changed from the weekly chart. Even if we just look at the order flow, market structure, everything, you're still making high highs and high lows. The only thing that you should be doing when the market is continuing to make higher highs and higher lows is to simply buy high and sell higher. I know that the best time to invest in the Bitcoin was like 2023, and some of you may have, but a lot of you didn't. A lot of you are actually just joining the markets like in the last few months. That's perfectly fine. Even in the last few months, you would have still made money. Like, let's just take a look at the last year, right? Where after Bitcoin formed that new all-time high right here, everyone was saying like, oh yeah, because of this multiple month of retracement, prices, like the bull market is over and you shouldn't buy into Bitcoin anymore. Guess what? It went up 2x ever since that point. So even if you joined the market anytime within the last few months, as long as you buy the dip and sell higher, you would have made money. And the only reason that you would be able to do that is because, again, market structure is bullish. Order flow on the weekly chart is bullish. And until that changes, just continue to trade the market. You may have opinions about what Bitcoin price should be. Maybe you think that this is a bit too expensive. The truth is, it doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what I think either. What's important is that as traders and investors, we look at what the market is telling us objectively and act accordingly, not based on what we think should happen. Okay? So outside of that, just understand that yeah, right now we have started to get a pump. Does not mean that this will last all the way until next week. We may just see another retracement, but depending on how today's candle closes, like we could be seeing the start of a little reversal. So specifically, what I want to look for is on the daily chart, I want to see a daily candle close above 112,600. I am looking at the Binance spot chart right now. If you apply this to Bybit or Binance futures or whatever, like that number is going to look slightly different, but just understand that this is the block that you want to see broken above. When I say block, what I really mean is this bearish order block right here. Just understand that so far on the daily chart, you have been putting in bearish order flow. So what is bearish order flow? Essentially, the moment price broke down below here, this now became a new level of resistance. And price broke down, came back up to retest it, did not break above the resistance, and continued to make a new low instead. And right now, this is the level of resistance that we should be theoretically getting rejected from, unless price actually wants to be bullish. And if this happens, it shows a change in state of delivery, which is the first step to a change in order flow. Once this happens, you can reasonably look for, price to turn this previous resistance into potential support. Now, note that I'm saying potential support, right? Because ideally, in an ideal scenario, you want to see price actually close above 117,000 before you make the call that, hey, we are absolutely bullish now and we are going to just go long for until the end of the bull run. Until this happens, this would still be the ideal level. Right here is just, again, the first step in a potential reversal. So we want to play that accordingly. Doesn't mean that we cannot go long now. It just means that we want to be a little bit cautious and potentially add to our positions once price actually trades above this level. And note that we do need a candle close on the daily chart. Just because price has traded above this level doesn't mean anything. Like if you take a look at this day right here, you actually traded slightly above the candle body and yet you started going down. Now, of course, in the grand scheme of things, if you're a swing trader, if you're a long-term trader, this is fine because this was just a little retracement before price eventually goes up, as you're seeing right now. But if you're an intraday trader, which is what we do here on this channel, we're going to get into it. So just looking at the daily buys from yesterday, because we closed bullish, theoretically speaking, we are not supposed to look for longs today, but I think I've seen enough signals from both the lower time frame as well as the fact that we are now bouncing out of a higher time frame key level, as I mentioned, the weekly order block, that I feel confident enough to say that today is probably going to be a long day. So for now, let's just try to mark this level out right here, because that is a daily bullish order block and we can potentially come back into and bounce during the New York session later, which we have news. And just a quick note on news. What I ended up doing yesterday was, if you guys recall, I was telling you guys like, oh, the news is going to be at 8:30 a.m. because I accidentally went all the way to September 14th and I was like, okay, Thursday, 8:30 a.m. you have USD news. Clearly, we have not gotten to September 14th yet. And the news ended up actually happening at 10 a.m. yesterday. And that was also when the move, the big move, began. If you guys were following me on Twitter, you would have realized that I started sitting in front of the charts starting at 8 a.m., even 7:30 a.m., and nothing was happening until 10 a.m. And then something happened. I was like, whoa, that's weird. Because usually the way we use news is we want to be trading in the hour, is that we want to be entering into our positions ideally an hour before news, because that's when something tends to happen, and the move will realistically last until an hour after news. That is exactly what we got yesterday, where if you take a look at the lower time frame charts, because I thought the news was going to be at 8:30 a.m., I started hopping into the charts at 7:30 basically, and from the hours of 7 all the way until 10, you were just ranging. And I just spent a couple of hours on Twitter sorry guys, I don't see a position yet, it's still chopping around, until just 15 minutes before the news happened at 9:30. Sorry, not 15 minutes, 30 minutes, you get a change in state of delivery, price retraces, boom. This is why I always emphasize trading on news days, ideally, not trading on non-news days. And most importantly, even on the news days, trade an hour before news. Look for the trades an hour before news until an hour after news. Because if you take a look at when the move ended yesterday, absolutely spot on. And just another way to show that nothing in the market happens for no reason. There is no coincidences in the market. The truth is, everything is manipulated by the smart money. Everything is controlled by the big players. Us retail traders, myself included, we do not have anywhere close to the amount of capital needed to move the markets in a meaningful way. And so it all depends on what the big players are thinking. That is also the methodology that I have used to basically achieve 100 wins out of the last 125 calls. It's the exact same methodology that, you have seen work time and time again, which is smart money trading. Now, I don't claim to understand what the smart money is thinking or doing, but there are enough signs and footprints that we can utilize to make a kind of educated guess on what they might be doing. That involves liquidity, involves PD arrays and stuff like that. If you would like to learn this for yourself, feel free to click the first link in the description box below. It's where I work with you one-on-one to install this exact system that you've seen work time and time again. And yeah, otherwise, let's get back into the lower time frame charts just to understand that, again, news today is going to be happening at 8:30. This is not the wrong timing now. So 8:30 a.m. we have 3 pieces of news. This is non-farm payrolls, which is actually one of the biggest news events in every month. And this is a day where you get a lot of volatility. And you're already seeing this so far, even during the London session, where we have now pumped aggressively. And this is normal on NFP days. And we're going to expect this volatility to continue later during the New York session. So the ideal trading time for today is going to be anywhere between 7:30 a.m., again, an hour before news. And you will expect the move to last until an hour after news or thereabouts. So 9:30, 10. So ideally, you want to be getting in around 7:30, 8:30, potentially even 9 a.m. and then ride a move up to 10 a.m. So that's how we're going to play the intraday move for today. Now, in terms of the 1 hourly chart, again, we have marked out that bullish order block right here, but we also have a couple of fair value gaps. So this one right here, as well as, well, where price currently is sitting at the moment. We have 5 more minutes until the 1 hourly candle closes. Depending on where it closes, this is going to be your fair value gap. Essentially, the way that we're going to use this is when price gets into either one of these levels, we are going to expect price to bounce from that point. Now, just because we expect price to bounce doesn't mean that we just set a limit here, set a stop loss somewhere, and hope for the best. Like, there is a much more systematic way to do this, which I'm going to get into in just a bit. Just understand that these are going to be the 3 levels that we are paying attention to. Namely, it's going to be around 112,500, around 111,900, as well as 111,500. Those are going to be the 3 levels. As for which one of these levels are likely going to be near quote unquote the bottom, I don't know either. It's not my job either to figure that out. As a trader, I always advocate for just planning out each and every scenario, which is what I'm trying to do in this video, just preparing you for any scenario that could happen. I'm going to give you clear conditions to validate those scenarios. And when it happens, when the conditions are met, boom, bing, bang, boom, you just read and react. That is the true and proper way to do trading. Any trader that is telling you like, oh yeah, price prediction, Bitcoin's going to go to $200,000 or Solana is going to go to 500. The truth is, nobody knows. And you don't need to know either in order to make money from trading or investing. You just need to just read what the market is telling you and just act accordingly. Very few people actually understand this, but if you do understand this, you are going to be very successful. So in terms of the 1 hourly as well, we have a change in state of delivery. Obviously, like at this point right here at like 6 p.m. from yesterday, we already had a change in state of delivery. The ideal entry would have been to just get in on area, place your stop loss underneath here and target for 2R, which at the moment it's almost getting hit already. It's okay. We've missed that. We weren't looking at the markets at the time. Our trading strategy does not involve trading at 6 p.m. New York time either, which is post-market hours. So we're just going to focus on what we're able to do today. Another thing to note is that this is another change in state of delivery, which means that if price actually does get back into this level, which I'm going to mark out because this is going to be an important level at 112,200. So we can even realistically narrow down the fair value gap to this level right here. You can potentially turn this is essentially a support resistance flip where you overcome the previous resistance, come back down to test it as support, and you go up. For the breakout trainers out there, this is known as a breakout retest. But otherwise, so far, we're pretty clear on the overall bias. Let's just hop into the 5-minute chart to see how we can take advantage of this. Essentially, you're going to want to look for price to get into this level, or this level, right? We've already marked that out from before. Let me just remove this right here just to prevent confusion. So again, 111,800, 112, 300, as well as 111,500. Once price gets into this, either one of these levels, at anywhere between the hours of 7 a.m., 7:30, maybe 8 a.m., and price starts to show some kind of willingness to go up. Essentially, you want to see change in state of delivery. I want you to imagine for a moment that if price were to come all the way down here or all the way down here, it would be in bearish order flow. What is bearish order flow? It is the opposite of bullish order flow. Wow, genius, so smart. No, but on a serious note, bearish order flow looks like this. So let me just find you a proper example. This would be an example of bearish order flow, where that is a support that gets broken through. I say support, but realistically, that is an order block. It's broken through, it forms a new low. Price ends up retesting the order block, fails to break above it, and forms a new low. Now, this becomes your new level of resistance. Price doesn't come to retest it, and then it just continues breaking down, breaking down, breaking down. You'll notice that within this move right here, every single bearish order block and every single bearish fair value gap is getting respected, and they're forming new lows. That is bearish order flow. I want you to imagine that if price were to get into here, you would be in bearish order flow, and you don't want to be trading, or you don't want to be going long into bearish order flow. So you want to wait for price to come into either one of these levels, either one again, and you want to see a change in order flow. Essentially, you want to start seeing bullish order blocks being respected. And once that happens, you can just trade price continually to the upside. As for the targets for today, let's just take a look. Sorry guys, the Wi-Fi just completely went out and I have no idea why, but we're back. Anyways, when price gets into either one of those levels, you're going to want to look for bullish order flow to be respected. Once it happens, then that is going to be when you enter. As for invalidation scenarios for today, I always like to discuss this because we can never be too sure of any given direction. As a trader, we need to understand that trading is a game of probabilities. If there is one thing certain about the financial markets, it's that there's never any certainty. So the invalidation scenario here is just going to be a candle close below here, which is 110,400. Now, very likely we're not going to be getting that. The only way that this happens is that price just continues dumping, and we do not get any sort of 5-minute CISD to go long. If that happens, well, it is what it is. This call is invalidated, but I feel like I should just let you guys know about that. But outside of that, it's time to get into the Ethereum analysis. I'm just gonna quickly run through this. On the daily chart, this is not looking as clean as Bitcoin, not gonna lie. Daily bias is down so far, but if Bitcoin pumps, it's very likely that Ethereum follows long. Let's take a look at the 1 hourly chart to see what it's showing us. And we have a change in state of delivery. Unfortunately, oh yeah, okay, that's definitely a change in state of delivery, or maybe it is, maybe it's not. So compared to Bitcoin, which is looking comparatively stronger, I would definitely prioritize Bitcoin, but even on Ethereum, the way that you would utilize this is, again, that's a fair value gap. And in this case, it's much more clear that is a order block. So it's either price retraces into 43.80 or 43.38, and you're going to look for exactly the similar setup as Bitcoin. My recommendation is that you do not take both trades at the same time, because if Bitcoin dumps, or Bitcoin and Ethereum basically move in tandem, in the sense that Bitcoin dumps, Ethereum's going to dump. So if you take two trades, you may think that you're taking different trades, but in reality, they're the same trade, just with different packaging. So that's the only thing that I would pay attention to. 100 Twin, again, thank you so much for following me along on this journey. Some of you, I know a lot of you actually have been with me for months now, and you guys drop a daily comment down below. Just understand that I see you guys, and again, I reply to every single one of them. Definitely going to get to smoking a nice celebratory cigar later on. But outside of that, have a good weekend. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video, and I'll see you guys next week. Ciao.